Hey Flowers, it's Rose. We're doing a different thing today. I recently have gotten into acrylic painting and I haven't been really good at it yet, but I wanted to show you guys some of my process and some of my artwork. Um, so I have this bin that I bought to help store stuff in my dorm room. This is the bottom part, the plate that goes inside of it. Um, I don't have a color palette, so I'm using a lid to an old Tupperware container that I broke, so this is gonna hold my colors. Of course, I have a ruler because I cannot for the life of me draw straight lines. Sharpie to outline since it's black on black. Hopefully it won't be that noticeable when I put paint on. Lovely storage container full of my acrylic paints and paint brushes. And of course, water. So I had several ideas for what I wanted to draw on this. For the baseboard right here, I'm going to draw a galaxy. Pretty simple, just a bunch of colors on top of it, but we'll see how it looks because this is going to be practice for when I design my graduation cap. So let's get started. Got my paintbrushes, my colors. For the galaxy, I know I'm going to use white for the stars, so I've got that. Red, purple, some blue, and some yellow. So thing with acrylic paints is that you don't need a lot. A little goes a long ways. I figured that out very, very early on. I thought I needed a lot of paint, and I ended up wasting a bunch because I didn't end up using it. So always remember, little goes a long way. I have to open this one. I haven't used it yet. So just a dab paint. See that? Just a little bit of paint. You can always add more if you need more. Don't go overboard and pour a bunch in. You'll just end up wasting your paint. And paint is not cheap. Well, good paint isn't. This is just some cheap paint that I found at my local Rite Aid because I live in the middle of nowhere right now for my college. Always make sure that you keep the caps on because you don't want them to dry out. I had an issue when I was really, really little. I had giant bottles of acrylic paints, and when I was little, me and my sisters would paint on rocks with the acrylic paints. And we ended up not closing the caps on them all the way. You know, we're kids, didn't know any better, and ended up having dried out acrylics next time we went to use it. We thought that it was just stuck, so we shook it, wouldn't come out. We were like, what's going on? Opened it up, and it looked like it had turned into cement. So always make sure that you keep caps closed once you're done pouring out the paint. And make sure you get good quality paint brushes. Again, my paintbrushes right now are not good quality because I just got them at the Rite Aid. They work for the purpose I need them for, but you can see, which one is it? This happened as soon as I bought it and took it out of its packaging. It's not super broke, but it's annoying. I don't have any glue to glue it on, so I just have to be very careful when I'm using it. I have two big size brushes. This one, which I use the most, and then a bunch of finer ones. The finer ones I'm having trouble with because they're starting to feather out, and when they feather out and you try to draw a line, it ends up a little messy. Alright, so got my color palette right here. Look at those bright colors. Little thing right here. What just happened? Something smashed me. And we're gonna go. We're gonna see how this galaxy turns out. I'm pouring a little bit of water into my cup here to wash brushes in between the paintings. Water is a good cleaner for the paintbrushes, but with acrylic paint you have to be really careful because if you try to use a wet paintbrush, the acrylic cup paint turns a little weird. So you have to be very, very careful. And that's why I have this. Aside from protecting the carpet of the dorm, it's also going to work as a dryer for the paintbrushes for when I'm done washing the color off of. So to start with, I'm going to take this bigger brush. I'm going to use blue and purple as my base. I'm going to take a little bit of blue, and I'm just going to right across there, just a little smattering. Right across, use some more, a little bit there. It's not going to show up extra bright on this black base, which is okay. I don't want it to be super, super bright. Use a little bit of more blue over here. Oh, you can kind of see it on the camera there. That's nice. A little bit over here. Just get that. We're not really looking for a smooth look. We're just kind of looking for that little pat down there. I'm going to take some purple. I'm not going to wash my brush in between right now because purple and blue is okay. And we're going for a galaxy look, so it's okay if the colors mix a little bit. I'm going to take some purple. We're going to go right about here. And just smooth that around. A little purple up here. I'm going to get all the way over to the edges. You want it to look like one smooth color there. To make it look like purposeful. A little bit of purple down here. Already it's looking a lot better than just that plain black. And the thing about this bin that I have here, I found it at Walmart for about $10, $12. And it has lasted 2 years now. And it's multi-purpose. When I'm at home between college courses, I use it to store cleaning supplies. But when I'm here at the dorm, I use it to hold toilet paper because the bathrooms here suck ass. So, hold on one second. Oh! Get to see me walk around. So it's multi-purpose. There's like no wear or tear on it. Easy to collapse and fold away when you're not using it, so that's really nice. You saw I'm patting dry my brush right now because I just did the blue and purple. I want to add some red and yellow now, a little bit of splash of color. For these, I'm going to do a swirl-like design, so I'm not going to use this brush. I'm going to use a smaller size brush for this. I'm just going to take some red. I'm just going to do a little swirly swirl right here. Just a little. Give it some change from the lines we got. We're just trying to do a little messy design here. Let's give some red in there. The galaxy is so vast and wide. It's so mysterious. We can travel the universe for years and we could never understand everything that's in it. It's truly marvelous. I took an astronomy class on my first year here at college, and the amount of knowledge that we've managed to collect in just a few short years that humanity has been on this planet is astounding, and yet it's not even a tenth of what we could potentially discover. There's so much out there that we don't know, and we're constantly relearning things, hypothesizing things, and coming to new conclusions. There is a new zodiac sign that they recently established in 2013 or 16. If I had my textbook with me, I could verify that, but I left it back at home. And it changed everything. And even though I've learned that and professors have documented that that's true, I'm one of those people that I'm like, I'm sticking with my original zodiac sign that I grew up with. I'm not going to change it because of science, which is really a weird way of thinking, but that's just how I feel about my zodiac sign. So, but you can probably hear my radio in the background. History lesson in the middle of painting. I'm getting distracted, sidelined. All right, so we're gonna add some yellow now. I'm taking back the big brush because I'm just gonna splatter that around. Smear it around a little bit. Get that bright color around here. I don't want it to look uniform, so I'm trying not to pre-plan where I'm going to place the paint. I don't want it to look like it was intentional. Just little splats here and there. Just get that yellow in there. Let it soak in. Alrighty, it's looking a little weird, a little out of there. I want to add some more blue, some more purple, get that dark color in there because space is infinite, it's dark. If you have been paying attention to the news lately, recently, like I said, add more paint. Recently, we have gotten a clear photo of a black hole for the first time in history. And everyone always thought that it was impossible to get a picture of a black hole because black holes, by definition, absorb sound, light, everything. So we never thought that we would be able to get a picture. But this woman spent hours on this computer doing a bunch of research, bunch of programming, and managed to get a picture of a black hole. And that's big, that's huge in the field of science. That is absolutely huge. What's next? We can actually travel to a black hole. We can travel out to the outer rings of our universe. We can go to different galaxies. It's all out there. One of my favorite theories, and I'm a huge theory thinker, I love theories. One of my biggest theories is that black holes are actually gateways to other dimensions. So you know that dimension where that thinking where it's like there's a you in another dimension that took a different path, did a different thing than you did in your past. Like there's another me in a different dimension who didn't choose to go to college. And from then on, their life is completely different than mine. If I had the chance to meet another Rose, that would be so interesting to see how their life panned out, how my life could have been if I took a left instead of a right. Like, it's so interesting, and that could be possible. We don't know. There's so much we don't know. I'm going off on tangents. I'm sorry. Tell Rose to shut up. All right, going back to paint here. We're going to take some blue, some purple. I'm going to mix it this time. Half a color on each side. Don't know if you can see that. And we're just going to go the opposite way now. We're just going to go like this. Just get that color in there. Let it soak around. The thing when you're choosing a surface to paint on, you have to be careful of the material. Some material will soak up the paint and it won't look like you did anything. And that's kind of what this material has been doing so far. But that's what I want. I want it to look a little muted, a little out of there. So I'm just gonna dancing around, not really caring where it goes now. Just want to make sure that black isn't the most dominant color here. We're just kind of little smeggles there. Make sure we get the outer corners because we don't want all the attention right in the center. Make sure that color is not sitting on top. All right, I think a little bit more blue and purple, and then we can add the white stars. That's another thing. Stars are so interesting to me because the stars you see in the sky are actually already dead. It takes so many light years for their light to reach us that by the time it does, that star has already gone supernova and is gone. So it's really interesting to me to see that. The stars that we see in our sky today are the same stars that our ancestors, the cavemen, saw, because it takes that long for a star to disappear. It's so interesting, so unique to me. I absolutely love space and all that it has, all that it does, and the implications it has on our society. The fact that we're soon going to be able to go to Mars and live on it, and the fact that they discovered water on Mars. They discovered water underneath Mars, which means that it once could have hosted a livable life form. So aliens, extraterrestrial beings, is a real possibility. There's a theory going around, like I said, I love theories. There's a theory going around that humans once lived on Mars, and we destroyed the planet so much that we had to leave and go to Earth. Of course, that's not a technical possibility with the amount of scientific evidence that goes from that we the amount of scientific information that says that we descended from amphibians, apes, and bird forms that lived on Earth and that were from Earth originally. But it's cool to think about, you know, the implications that we were the extraterrestrials, that we had the ability to space travel way back then. I love all the stories about aliens being too scared to make contact with us because we're too busy waging war on each other. I am concerned about if we ever do make contact with extraterrestrials because we as humans don't have a good way of coping with the unknown. I fear that if we ever do make contact with extraterrestrials, they will be put in cages, they will be experimented on, and we will ruin any sort of union that we could have had, and we will have to go to war, galaxy wars, which, you know, sounds like a bad start to Star Wars or something. But that's just me thinking, you know. Alright, so right now I got a mess of colors. Doesn't really look like much. Now we're going to take the white. And the thing about this, a lot of people think you just, you know, do some lines and that's a star. Which, yeah, works. I got paint on my hands now. But what I want to do is I want to take this white and you're going to flick the brush and make it splatter. That's going to make the stars. So we take some white here. I'm just going to go this, splatter that white. I'm getting paint all over my fingers, but that's okay because acrylic paint actually can wash off pretty easily. So we just smacking some white around. Want to get a lot of paint on my paintbrush. Want to make sure that we're getting white splatters all over. Not working that well with this paintbrush. Like I said, this isn't a really good quality paintbrush. People have said that they use toothbrushes, which I would use, but being a college student, I can't really afford to waste toothbrushes on painting. So, need a little bit more white paint. Like I said, you know, rather add more later than use too much at the beginning. Some more paint right here. Aim it down. And make sure all. I'm going to try to aim it all in one spot. Make sure you get the corners. Paint splattering is very difficult because you don't know where it's going to go. That's why I'm wearing clothes that I don't really care about. And I have a towel down because I don't want to accidentally get paint where I don't want paint. You can see now it's starting to take a little bit of shape. Got enough paint on here that it's actually doing something now. All right. Can't really see it in the camera. I'll show you in a bit. Cleaning off my paintbrush right now. And now I'm going to go wash my hand real quick. I'll be right back. All right. So let's see if you can see it in the camera. A little bit of paint splatter around there. Pretty faint, but in person it looks pretty good. So now we're actually going to do what I talked about where we do the line things. Make it look a little unique. A little bit more white paint on my palette here. I'm going to take one of the smaller brushes, one of these tiny ones. Take a little bit of paint. We're just going to a little bit of white here. Make it a little stand out. Don't want it to stand out too much because we don't want it to be the one focus point. But I want it to look a little weird. We want it to be noticeable as a star, as a pinpoint of light. Like I said, I'm not really trying to make it calculated. I don't want it to look like I calculated it. You get a lovely view of me leaning over. Just a little bit. I want to make sure that this looks like a galaxy, not just a smattering of random colors. So be very careful, gentle where you place. How big, size, proportion. Make sure you're not making it too big or too small. Size matters. White is definitely one of the brighter colors when placed on a black background. It definitely doesn't soak in as well as the other colors because of its light capabilities. You definitely want to be careful when using it. And when all is said and done, you have a galaxy. Now I'm going to let this go off to the side and dry, even though, like I said, most of the paint has soaked in. So we're going to let this dry over here. And as you can see, less is more. I only have a little bit of white left over from my last time putting it on there, so only a little bit of waste, not that much. So, don't know if this was a little different, a little more your pace or whatnot, but this is kind of how I want to do things. A little bit of history lesson, a little bit of, vlog style of what I do during my time here in the dorms, and a little bit of information. So, for those of you that don't know, my name is Rose. I'm 22, currently in college. Hit that subscribe button so you get notified when I post. Posting once a week. And until then, until next time, keep blooming, my beautiful flowers, and I will see you guys next time.